Hello everyone, this is part 23 of What If Naruto Meets the Nine Tails Early, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Damn, I've had a month to think how I'm going to do it and I'm still not sure, thought Jiraiya. I told Tsunade I would tell Naruto everything, but even I don't know how he'll take it. I suppose I could wait until I'm sure how to tell him. No, it's got to be now. Naruto suffered long enough. Jiraiya sighed as he got a few scrolls out of his backpack. One was the scroll that Tsunade had him read that night and the other was a blank scroll where he began to scribe a privacy seal on it. He didn't trust anyone else's privacy seal, only his own. This information was something that needed to be said, but it was also something that had to be kept secret. Naruto, I hope everything will be made clear after tonight. Hopefully we can put some of your worries to rest. Jiraiya took a deep breath. Once Naruto stepped inside the cabin, he wasn't sure of what would happen. Hey Naruto, come over here for a bit, Jiraiya called out. Naruto stopped his training, gathered his kunai and proceeded to the cabin. Upon reaching the cabin, he saw Jiraiya's face. Something was wrong. Something was worrying him. Ero-sennin, what's wrong? For Jiraiya, this was it. He had always been a person who, once his mind was set on something, he would do it. Even though there were still doubts in his head, he knew if he couldn't tell Naruto now, he wouldn't be able to at all. He had made up his mind the day he read that letter that was addressed to his sensei, the letter that Naruto should have been given years ago, or months at the latest. Hey Naruto, close the door and make sure it's locked, said Jiraiya as he moved to the windows and closed them. All that remained as light sources were the candles inside the shack. Ero-sennin, asked Naruto, slightly confused as to what's going on. What's going on? Jiraiya took a deep breath. There's something we need to talk about. Something that needs to remain secret, but something that needs to be said, said Jiraiya, activating the privacy seals. Jiraiya and Naruto were now alone. Secret? What kind of secret? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya paused a moment, Naruto looking at him. It regards your parents. Naruto looked wide-eyed and in shock. His parents. As a child, that was all he wanted to think about. Who were his parents? Why was he never told of them? The uncertainty of who his parents were was probably the greatest pain of his childhood. Even the Sandaime never told Naruto. He would just brush off the question with something like, they were good people. That may have been enough to comfort him for the moment, but the pain returned. All he wanted is a name, a picture, something to tell him who his parents were. You knew my parents? Asked Naruto. The wounds from his past were reopening. Was this going to be another one of those times where someone mentioned the word, parents, and he still never got anything out of it? When he became a ninja, the distractions provided by his life as a ninja were enough to keep him from thinking about who his parents might be. But now that Jiraiya had mentioned it, he couldn't hold it back any longer. He didn't want it to happen again, another person he trusted, keeping that secret from him. Who were they? Now that the wounds were reopened, he had to know. Jiraiya nodded at Naruto's question and Naruto began to lose it. Please just tell me who they were. I need to, said Naruto as he burst out in tears. Jiraiya placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder, causing Naruto to look up to Jiraiya. Naruto, this is hard for me as well. I'll tell you, but please just be patient with me. I'm still not sure how to go about it, said Jiraiya. Naruto couldn't believe it. Someone was finally going to tell him. He was finally going to know where he came from. First, I need to understand a few things. I need you to promise me a few things. Can you do that? Naruto started to wipe the tears from his eyes. Yeah, just name them. I'll keep those promises, said Naruto, regaining himself. Jiraiya took a deep breath. Okay. First, what I am about to say has been kept secret for a reason. Your parents were very powerful people and they had enemies. If people knew you were their child, you would be in even more danger than you already are. Because of this, what I tell you I need you to promise me you'll keep secret and you won't tell anyone, save a few people. I can do that, but who can I tell? Asked Naruto. The only people in the village you can talk to about this are myself, Tsunade, Kakashi, and Hiashi. They already know. There are also a few other Jonin that know, but they aren't important right now, said Jiraiya. Wait, Hiashi and Kakashi-sensei know. But how? And if Hiashi knows, can I at least tell Hinata? Asked Naruto. You'll know in a little why Kakashi and Hiashi know. And for the time being, no, you cannot tell Hinata. I'll tell you who you can tell and when you can tell them, but until your 16th birthday, this needs to remain a closely guarded secret. Do you understand? Asked Jiraiya. Yeah, I do. I promise I won't tell anyone outside those 4 people, said Naruto. Good. Now, the second thing I need you to promise is not to get mad at the old man for keeping this from you, said Jiraiya. Wait, why would I get mad at the old man Sandaime? Asked Naruto. Because Naruto, you should have known a long time ago. The Sandaime should have told you a long time ago. Your parents never wanted you to suffer like you have been. I don't even know myself. The Sandaime was my sensei and I don't even understand why. All I can say is that I feel as if there is more going on, although I don't even know what yet. So please don't look at the old man in a negative way until we are absolutely certain what happened that caused this lapse of judgment. Jiraiya looked at Naruto with a sad expression. He knew Jiraiya was hurting from this just as much as he was, but Jiraiya wanted to hold on to hope that it wasn't entirely the old man's fault. I can do that, said Naruto. Anything else? No, said Jiraiya. Knew he really wasn't sure where to go. But, before I tell you who they were, I want to tell you something about myself, okay? Naruto nodded. You know that book that I gave you for my birthday? Yeah. It's actually really good. I mean, I'm only about halfway through it, but it's really good, said Naruto. Jiraiya smiled. For someone like Naruto to like a book, well, maybe there was hope for his writing skills after all. Hey, thanks Naruto. There is a reason that your name is the same name as the main character in that book, said Jiraiya. I already told you that my first real novel didn't sell too well. But, there were a few people who liked it. Your dad was one of them. In fact, he even asked me if he could name you after the character in the book. In a way, he made me your godfather. Really? Naruto's eyes lit up a little. Wait, my dad wasn't a pervert like you, was he? Jiraiya laughed. No, I had the utmost respect for your father, but I should have come back for you. I should have taken you instead of leaving you in the hands of the villagers. For that, Naruto, I'm truly sorry. Erosenin, Naruto looked up into his godfather's eyes, smiling. He forgave Jiraiya with ease. And stop calling me, Erosenin, brat, protested Jiraiya. Both laughed a little. So who were they? Who were my parents? Asked Naruto after a momentary pause. Jiraiya reached down into the pile of scrolls and papers in front of him and handed Naruto a small photo. Your mother was Uzumaki Kushina, he said. Naruto looked at the picture. Wow. She's beautiful, said Naruto. Indeed she was. What really stood out was the long red hair on her head. Naruto was really wishing that he had inherited his mother's hair now. What was she like? Jiraiya laughed at that. She was a lot like you. Loud, and very stubborn as a child. But when she matured, she became more calm and kind. However, the one thing she never lost was her temper. Oh man, she was one person you did not want to piss off. Hell, I'd rather be staring down Tsunade sometimes than her. I believe she was called the Bee Habanero for her fiery temper and red hair. Naruto laughed at that. Suddenly, Jiraiya went straight from laughing to serious. There is one more thing you need to know about her, he said. Naruto stopped his laughter and looked at Jiraiya. She was the Kyuubi's previous Jinchuriki, she-s the night of the Kyuubi attack. What? Said a shocked Naruto. My mother was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Uzumaki Kushina. Yes Kit, it's true. She was my previous vessel, replied Kurama. A question came to Naruto's mind. One he didn't want to ask, but one he really had to know. Did you know? Did you K her? Kurama sighed. Not directly Kit. Like I told you before, a Jinchuriki-s when the beast is L out of them. That's what happened to your mother. She s as a result of me being L out of her. Although I will say she was strong for surviving for a short time afterwards. Usually, a host will s the moment the beast is extracted, but she still lived a few minutes afterwards. Naruto looked down. It was a better answer than he had hoped for. But, how did you get out then? Who released you? Asked Naruto. You already know the answer. I told you the day we met back in the wave, said Kurama. Naruto instantly realized who it was, Madara. Kit, Naruto, I'm sorry I didn't say anything until now. No, it's okay, said Naruto. On the outside, Jiraiya was letting Naruto take some time to let the recent information soak in. Naruto, are you alright? Asked Jiraiya. Yeah, just had a difficult conversation with Fuzzball, replied Naruto. What did he say? Asked Jiraiya. Well, at least he wasn't the one who killed her, said Naruto. Huh, well then who did? Replied Jiraiya. He said that she was from having the QBL out of her by Uchiha Madara, said Naruto. He said she was strong for being able to survive for a few moments afterwards. Jiraiya wasn't mad at the QB for that. What happened happened and there was nothing that could be done about that. What really surprised Jiraiya though was when the QB actually complimented Kushina for being strong. He didn't think the fox, a demon, had it in him to compliment a human. Besides, this was now something Naruto and Kurama would have to work out by themselves. Naruto perked up, deciding not to dwell on the conversation with the QB. Kurama was not the one truly responsible for his mother's death, so Naruto held no grudge. He would have to talk to him again, but that could wait until a later time. So who is he? Who is my dad? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya took a deeper breath, knowing this one would be harder than Kushina. I don't really know the best way to tell you this, so I'm just going to show you, said Jiraiya, handing Naruto another photo. Naruto looked on at the photo in shock, unable to believe what he was seeing. Your father was my best student and one of the greatest men I ever knew. There is a reason I taught you the Rasengan. It's practically your birthright after all. This eye is the Yundaime Hokage, said Naruto, trying to grasp hold of words. Yes, Naruto. Namikaze Minato, the Yundaime Hokage, is your father, said Jiraiya. Naruto practically broke down in tears. He didn't know what to do. The flood of emotions being too much for him to handle. He finally knew. He finally knew who his parents were. Hey, Naruto. Is everything alright? Jiraiya asked the frozen Naruto. Tears came to Naruto's eyes. Yeah, Jiraiya. Everything's going to be alright. I mean, I finally know who my parents are and I can't believe it. My hero is my father, said Naruto. Jiraiya smiled, grabbing a few more pictures and giving them to Naruto. The first picture was a picture of Minato and Kushina on their first date. Hey, this is Ichiraku. Realized Naruto. Yep, it's where your dad took your mom out on her first date. She was as big of a ramen nut as you are, laughed Jiraiya. In fact, you know that ramen passport that you have? Naruto nodded. Your mom completed hers. Ask Chuki and he'll show it to you. Oh, and that reminds me, you can talk to Chuki about your parents. He knows you're their son as they practically lived at Ichiraku. Naruto laughed along with Jiraiya. Naruto flipped through the pictures, stopping at a particular one. It was both of his parents sitting together, with Kushina having a rather large belly. I guess that's the closest thing I've got to a true family picture of the three of you. This was taken a month before you were born while your mom was still pregnant with you, said Jiraiya. That did it. Naruto really broke down now and Jiraiya spent the next 15 minutes trying to pull the blonde back together. Ero Sennin, why did everything have to happen? Why me? Asked Naruto, finally asking the questions on the top of his head. I don't know. Perhaps this will give you answers, said Jiraiya, handing Naruto the scroll. There is a seal on this scroll that only you can open. I believe it has a few things from your parents. Perhaps some answers. Also, I'm sure the QB may be able to clear up a few things. Naruto nodded, taking the scroll from Jiraiya and opening it. Now, just smear some of your B on the seal and channel some chakra to release it, explained Jiraiya. Naruto did as such and into existence popped 2 scrolls along with one of his dad's Hiraishin kunai, seal and all. One scroll was yellow, probably from his dad, and the other was red, probably from his mother. Naruto decided to start with the one from his mother first. My dearest Naruto, this is your mother, Uzumaki Kushina. I hope everything has been well for you and you have made lots of friends. I wish I could be there to see you grow up into the handsome young man I know you will become, but as I am writing this, I can feel my own life slowly leaving me. So please forgive me, but know this, you look like you have your father's looks, so you'll be fine. He was always the better looking of the two of us. And I know the day will come when you meet a pretty girl, hopefully someone like me. But enough of that, I know what Minato is doing, making you the Kyuubi's next Jinchuriki. I really wish it didn't come to this, but even I know that this is the only way to save the village. Besides, I think beneath that demon exterior, he really is a softie on the inside. I don't really know, but it felt like I was starting to get through to him. I do know this though. If anyone can get through to the Kyuubi, it will be you, Naruto. I'm sorry but my time has come and I must leave. I hope you can forgive us for everything. Know that Minato and I will always love you, no matter where we are, Tobane. Love. Uzumaki Kushina, your mother. Oh. And stay away from that pervert of a teacher your father had. Naruto's reactions were a mix of sadness and laughter. Mom. Thank you and don't worry, I love you too. Ha. Tobane. There was one word that caught Naruto's attention and Jiraiya laughed a little. Oh yeah, that's right. She had that same verbal tick you do. And the funny thing was that she was hoping you wouldn't get it, Jiraiya laughed, Naruto joining in. He then took one last look at his mother's letter before picking up the one from his father. Hey Naruto. This is Namikaze Minato, your father. I hope you can forgive me and your mother for everything. I truly do wish we could have been there for you, although you probably would have come to hate us. I'm just kidding there, although Kushina would have most likely been spying on you during the first time you ever took a girl out on a date. I'm also sorry to say that it looks like you got my looks. Your mother always had the better looks. With regards to what I did to you, sealing the Kyuubi inside you, I truly regret having to do this, but I felt there was no other way. I would not have done it if it hadn't been for the fact that the true mastermind behind the attack was Uchiha Madara. I know that it will take someone who can control the Kyuubi's power to be able to defeat him, and I know that someone is you. I'm sorry that I had to place that burden on you, but I have absolute faith in you. I know you will grow into the man we know you will become. Love. Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime Hokage and your father. Mom, Dad, don't worry, I'll make you proud, Tobio. Declared Naruto. Somewhere in the pure world. Aku, a reed hair spirit sneezed. Is everything alright, Kushina? Yeah, but I have a bad feeling about something, Tobane. Don't worry Naruto. I'm sure they're proud of you, said Jiraiya, reassuring Naruto. Are you going to be alright? Naruto was silent for a moment. Yeah, I think I will be. Thank you, Ero Sennin, for everything. It means a lot, really, said Naruto. Hey, can I keep one of those pictures you have? Jiraiya held the one picture of Minato and a pregnant Kushina. Not like this Naruto. Like I said, it risks the secret getting out, you do understand, right? Yeah, I guess, replied Naruto. He was sad to hear that, and Jiraiya could easily pick up on the sad tone of his voice. But, I suppose I could put a seal on one of these pictures to hide the image so that only you can see it, replied Jiraiya. Ha, really? Shouted Naruto. Can you please? Jiraiya smiled at Naruto's reaction. Yeah, just give me a day or so. Now, try to get some rest. We've got a long trip ahead of us tomorrow, said Jiraiya as he cleaned up the scrolls and papers scattered around the house. And Tsunade was worried. That went easier than I expected. Hey Ero Sennin, so where are we going? Asked Naruto. Well, now that I've told you what you need to know, I guess I can say, said Jiraiya. You see, there is this one bathhouse in the land of hot water that has the most beautiful girls, and mixed bathing. Gah, you just dragged me along on another of your research trips, you old pervert. Shouted Naruto as Jiraiya laughed. Alright, that's not where we are going, although we may stop there for a little. Besides, I'm almost finished with my next book and I just need to do a little more research. No, the place we are actually going is the ruins of Uzushiogakuru, the village of your ancestors, said Jiraiya. Huh, what do you mean? Asked Naruto. I'll explain it more in the morning. Besides, it will give us something to talk about tomorrow, said Jiraiya. Now get some sleep. Naruto laid back, thinking of what had just happened. He finally knew what he had been looking all these years, the Idini of his parents. He couldn't believe it. His mother was a beautiful Kunoichi and his dad was the most powerful shinobi of his time, Konoha's famed Yellow Flash and the Yondaime Hokage. However, that only brought up more questions, ones that only the Kyuubi could answer right now. Naruto closed his eyes and tried to enter into his own subconsciousness. We need to talk, said Naruto, standing in front of the gate that contained the Kyuubi. I figured as much. After what you've heard today, I don't blame you at all for coming to seek me out, replied Kurama. How much of that did you know? I mean, did you actually know who my parents were? Asked Naruto. Your mother, yes. Being my previous host, I know who she was and I knew you were her kid. Your father, no. The difference between my current seal and the one used to seal me inside your mother was that yours allows me to connect with your senses and memories, hers didn't. Within your mother, I was in complete isolation from the outside world. I only knew what was going on within her, not outside of her. The only way we could talk was when she contacted me. However, she did not have access to my chakra as her seal was meant to simply contain me. Your seal is different. Because your seal allows you to use my power, it also allows me to see what's going on outside of you. I know who your friends are, who your vixen is, and how big of a pervert that teacher of yours is. Don't worry, I'm not threatening them. But why didn't you tell me who my mom was? Asked Naruto. Because Kit, it wasn't my place to tell you. In a way, I don't think you would have believed me. Maybe, but still, anyways. So you fought my dad, what happened on that night? We were told he's defeating you. I don't want to think you him, but what happened? I'll be honest, the night you were born, I was trying to escape myself from your mother. The time when a woman gives birth is the time when the seal weakens to a point where I could actually get out. However, I was not able to as the Yondaime was holding the seal together. Then a few minutes passed and I was released from your mother by some external force. When I was finally out, I saw your mother chained to a rock, weak but still alive. I do have to give her that much. She survived the extraction. To my knowledge, no one has ever survived the extraction. Even if she was she should have been the moment I left her, but she still had some life left in her. Enough time to see me. Enough time to say goodbye, Naruto realized, thinking back to the letter. The way she wrote it, it sounded like the Kyuubi had already been extracted and she was It seems like it. I don't know what happened to her afterwards, but I assumed she passed shortly after due to the extreme drop in chakra inside her. Anyways, all I remember seeing next were those accursed eyes. That was when I knew he was back. Uchiha Madara? Asked Naruto. Yes, that son of AB. Anyways, by the time I finally regained my own mind, it was already too late. The Yondaime had me trapped in some sort of restraining seal and he was beginning the sealing process. I used a seal called the Reaper Death Seal, I believe is what it was called. Anyways, he summoned the Shinigami himself and used it to seal me inside you. But if I know how the Shinigami works, then your dad had to his own life to use that jutsu. I see, said Naruto, looking down. No matter how you look at it, it all comes back to that one person, said Kurama. How could one person be the cause of so much suffering? And one that should have years ago, said Naruto. Trust me on this, Kit, I would not have come within 1,000 miles of your village if it hadn't been for him. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be stuck inside you and you would probably be trying to steal the Hokage hat from your dad right about now, said Kurama. Naruto laughed a little at that. Yeah, I probably would have. Well, it doesn't matter because that hat will still be mine one day. I just have to get it from Barkin now. I'll become Hokage, and I'll make sure that Madara's reign of terror is finally put to an end, to Bio. So we're good then. Yeah, I don't blame you for what happened. Besides you couldn't my parents, you're just a big softy, joked Naruto. Soft. Get back here you little brat and I'll show you, soft, I'll your head off. Kurama shouted as Naruto disappeared from his own mindscape, laughing. Damn you Kushina. Jiraiya and Naruto stopped for lunch the following day. The entire morning, Jiraiya had been bombarded by questions from Naruto, wanting to know more about his mom and dad. One thing though that Jiraiya had wanted to ask was if Naruto had talked to the Kyuubi since last night and wanted to see what the fox had to say about the entire issue. Naruto basically repeated what Kurama had told him last night. It's good to know that they are still in this together, but troubling as to who was behind this. Even Minato mentioned Uchiha Madara's name. That can't be good. Perhaps I should also think about loosening Naruto's seal. Not a lot, but enough to allow him to use the Kyuubi's power without as much difficulty, thought Jiraiya. He did have to admit that perhaps the fox wasn't as bad or evil as everyone initially thought. Perhaps there was more to the Kyuubi than some demon bent on mindless destruction. That didn't mean he fully trusted the Kyuubi yet, but perhaps the Kyuubi and Naruto did earn a little bit of trust with how they handled the Orochimaru situation. Besides, if the Kyuubi really did want to hurt Naruto or his friends, then why did help save Sasuke? Hey Ero Sennin, so you said you were going to train me on this trip. What are you going to teach me this time? Is it another of my dad's jutsu? Or perhaps another cool wind jutsu? Said Naruto, slipping into annoying brat mode. Oh, and what did you do with that kunai that was in the scroll? Wait, are you going to teach me the Hiraishin? Jiraiya sighed, handing Naruto back the kunai, saying he just needed to look at the seal on the handle. No, you're not ready to learn that jutsu yet, said Jiraiya, Naruto pouting in protest. So how far are you on your wind chakra training? Naruto pulled a normal kunai and channeled some wind chakra into it, throwing it at the tree. I've got it to where I can get it sticking out of the end of the tree, but it's hard to maintain a sharp enough wind blade on it after I throw it. I just wish it was as easy as with the Hiraishin kunai, said Naruto. Well, it looks like you're coming along pretty good. This isn't exactly an easy exercise to master. Unlike the leaf and waterfall exercises, this one is much harder. You have to create a strong enough blade so that it sustains itself, unlike the previous exercises where you could sustain it by adding more chakra, said Jiraiya. Anyways, I wanted to start teaching you something different. Both of your parents were exceptionally gifted as the art of fuinjutsu. While your father was the better of the two, being an actual seal master, your mother had a gift for fuinjutsu as well, being an Uzumaki. What does being an Uzumaki have to do with fuinjutsu? Asked Naruto. Well, it's kind of the purpose of the trip we are taking. The Uzumakis were a clan that inhabited the village of Azuchiogakaru in the land of whirlpools. In fact, that is where the red swirl on the back of your jacket and the standard flax jacket came from. Konoha and Azu had close ties, mainly due to the relationship between the Senjus, Konoha's founding clan, and the Uzumakis. If you trace back far enough in the Uzumaki and Senju family trees, you'll find that they were distant relatives and the two clans saw each other as cousins, explained Jiraiya. Really? So we are going to see the Uzumaki clan. I wonder if I have any distant family there, said Naruto. I'm sorry Naruto, but I highly doubt that, explained Jiraiya. Naruto looked at the Toad Sage with a confused look. Back during the time of the Second Great Ninja War, the Uzumakis were considered a great threat to many of the shinobi nations. As such, Iwa launched an all-out assault on Azu, resulting in the city's destruction and the scattering of the Uzumakis. To be honest, all that is left are ruins of the once prominent village. There aren't many Uzumakis left. I hate to tell you this, but there is even a possibility that you may be the last Uzumaki. Naruto grew depressed. But why? Why did Iwa do that? Why did they nearly wipe out the Uzumaki clan, my clan, said Naruto. It was because of what the Uzumakis were good at. The Uzumakis were powerful seal masters and many nations like Iwa feared what the Uzumakis could do with a seal. Just to give you an idea, the seal on your stomach is an Uzumaki-style seal, said Jiraiya. But what exactly do seals do? I mean, we've been taught about storage seals and explosive seals in the academy, and I guess you can seal a demon with them, but what else could they do? Asked Naruto. Well, to put it in the simplest terms possible, just about anything, said Jiraiya. Naruto stared wide-eyed at him. Anywhere from storing items and weapons to amplifying the power of a jutsu 100-fold to granting a ninja a massive power source to healing even the most gruesome of injuries. In fact, it was a sealing matrix that allowed Tsunade to save your friends when they got injured. With the correct formula, you could do just about anything with seals, explained Jiraiya. Wow, gasped an amazed Naruto. He had no idea that the people he was descended from were that cool and powerful. Yep, your dad was well versed in Uzumaki sealing techniques, primarily due to your mother, and it was his knowledge of seals that made his who he was, explained Jiraiya. So we are on this trip to train me in this fuinjutsu. exclaimed Naruto as he began to bounce in excitement. Well, that wasn't the main purpose of the trip, said Jiraiya. Naruto gave him a bit of a glare. I actually needed to go to Azushigakaru to see if I could find something on how to remove the caged bird seal that Hiashi has me working on. If anyone has a way to remove it, it's the Uzumakis. But I also figured I could start teaching you the art of fuinjutsu. Wait, but you said the city was destroyed. How do you expect to find a way to remove a seal if everything is destroyed? Asked Naruto. Well, the thing is that the Uzumaki sealed away the knowledge in vast archives throughout the city before it were attacked. Those archives are still in fact, but they are secured by a vast network of B seals. Only someone with Uzumaki B can even hope to open them and access the scroll and knowledge within, said Jiraiya. I guess that's the real reason I brought you along, so that you could open the B seals. Well, if it will help with the removal of the caged bird seal, then I guess so. But what's so difficult about removing just one seal? Asked Naruto. While a seal might not be that complex or difficult, there are certain elements that seals may contain that make them nearly impossible to remove. The problem with the caged bird seal is that it's integrated so tightly into the brain that it's nearly impossible to remove without K or handicapping the bearer. I need to find some way to untangle the seal from the brain to be able to remove it safely, said Jiraiya. Well, what are we waiting for? The sooner we can get rid of that seal, the sooner I can fulfill my promise to Neji and Hinata, and the sooner they won't have to worry about any sort of family problems because of that seal. Exclaimed Naruto. Jiraiya just smiled at Naruto's enthusiasm. Hey Ero Sennin, you said you're going to teach me fuinjutsu, right? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya nodded. Great. When can we get started? Pack up your stuff. I'll explain while we are walking and you can start your training once we settle down for the night, said Jiraiya. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.